All right, we are going live.
Are we good?
We are good. We're up.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Another happy Saturday to everybody. Dr. Misak here. Got Annie smiling today.
Yay. I can move.
Yeah, you should have heard her ranting and raving about COVID about 15 minutes ago, but we'll stop on that.
Well, you asked me what to talk about. Let's talk about COVID. No. They just shut our state down. Let's not. I'm very calm about it. It's fine.
So, but we're going to talk a little bit about breathing and respiratory kind of things and things to be concerned about, and something that might be in the numbers, which I think I have my board behind me that we can write some numbers up if they do pop up. I love to start, just always just
First
welcome
person
God,
jumping
the Holy
on.
Spirit in, and
Hey,
this
Doc. Things
verse.
are pretty slow. I don't have anybody in yet, so give us a second
Okay,
here.
so we'll give them a minute.
I have one viewer.
They can always come back and
Oh, totally.
and watch this later on. So I always like to start with a good verse, and I love the Bible app and going through a plan on there right now, and it's really just a great place just to find your quiet time. But today it's from Luke 12:40. You also must be ready because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him. I mean, that's one of the hopeful things that we have is the aspect of Christ's return and taking control of this world. And because I don't think we want to go off into the politics of talking about this world, or my channel might get shut off the air. So let's just keep it at that, and let's just say, hey, let's just invite God in, people. Just invite him to be with you, and hear what he has to say. And it just, there's a comfort, and no matter what's happening around us, it's all good. God's got it under control. So when we look at this, one of the things that, well, we have these lockdowns currently, and the aspects of everyone wearing their mask, and you got to think about, the main way of contracting a pandemic concern of a virus is respiratory, is what's being and through mucous membranes. It can come through your eyes. You can. That's why they tell watch. Use all the hand sanitizers, because if you touch it and I need to, you know, um, wipe my beard or whatever, and ingest it. And that incubation period or quarantine time is based upon the time for the virus. The CDC says it's about 10 days at this point is the newest recommendation, to where you can have um, the virus can kind of colonize, in your lower part of your throat and in your pharynx area and your larynx, and then as it gets to colonizes to a concentration, as it gets into your airways, that's when you get some havoc, and that period can take a few days. So one of the aspects is using mouthwash, gargling, with something that is antimicrobial, antiviral. You can use your typical antiseptic mouthwashes. A lot of people suggest colloidal silver and the like. We can't turn around and make any claims that would do the same thing. But I know people who are using colloidal silver with a drop of essential oils and stuff like that in there and have not had any viral concerns. The main thing I want to talk about, though, is this is a time of year where, hey, the air's a little cool, respiratory. We start thinking of those lungs and just being healthy. How many of you just, get runny nose just constantly in the cold air? I actually had a great walk this morning. I got up and walked 3 miles with my pastor, and out in South Park. Just a nice chilly walk, moving out, and just had a great time together. And but when I'm in that cold weather, nose wants to run a little bit and adjust. And what's all this stuff going on with respiratory system? What's the important of our lungs? Is, hey, let's talk about getting some air and getting oxygen into us, an exchange of getting rid of acid waste in the body by blowing off carbon dioxide. And so that's huge. The health of your lungs really could dictate and play a huge role in our overall health and well-being. And so during, not only the concerns we have, but on a day-to-day basis. And one of the ways that we talk about learning to be mindful, is how do I quiet my mind? Is most people who teach mindfulness or any type of meditation teach you to tune into your breath. Just tune into your body, stop. What's happening right now? What's 3 things you feel in your body? Your butt in your chair, whether you have your hands are cold, whether you are crossing your legs. Think of 3 things. Awareness. What do you taste right now? What are 3 tastes that you might have? I can taste a little bit of the chia seeds that I had earlier, and a little bite that had some fig in it. I can have the remnants of an herbal that I had with Annie 5 minutes before the show, and things like that. You can turn around and what are 3 things you smell right now? So taking that time to just become aware of your body. And when you're trying to relax, and we could go into so many tangents, go talk about telomeres and how if you have stress, your telomeres shorten, and traumatic stress from your past, and carrying these chronic patterns of anxiety and mental thought shorten your telomeres. And so how do you get in tune with that aspect of self? Oh my God, I got to get quiet. Who am I? What am I thinking? What's that voice that's running in my head? Which one do I want to listen to? And breathing is a key component to tune into your breath, and how fast your breathing can dictate how much carbon dioxide you're blowing off, and which will affect your acid base imbalance. And so therefore breathing techniques can make you more alkaline or more acidic. So just think about deep breathing. And when you take that breath, most people teach breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, let it relax. And then they also teach about how to feel, like the energy around you, because it's everywhere. We are energy, people, and you can feel energy moving through your body. And as you take a breath, you literally can feel like not only are your lungs getting air, but like as energy moves through your body, and they talk about moving it through your chakras, your lower chakra, which affects your energy and well-being, and your sexual vitality aspect, that heart chakra, you can feel happiness and joy coming out. That chakra at what's considered the third eye, and allowing energy to come out through the head. And this stuff is real, but it doesn't make you, the problem is a lot of the teaching of these things go very aspects of, hey, you are your own universe and you control everything, and God's given us great authority, but he's in control, people. And so with all the crap that's going on, take a breath, let him have it. Relax and chill and just stay on your path. That's all I can say with that regard. But when you're breathing, one of the aspects of looking at people's metabolic typing and understanding, are they fast or slow oxidizers? You look at breath rate and how long you can hold your breath. So, so you could turn around. So everybody who comes in here at a first time in my office, I get a general breath rate. And there's this general equation that if you take your breath rate, okay, and then you take how long you can hold your breath. One breath.
And he's gone.
I'm gone. What happened?
I thought you froze. You were doing it so good. Oh, man. We fixed the video. We fixed everything. I'm just waiting for something to happen. Oh, man. I need to breathe.
So as you breathe, you can take your breath rate, okay, which we talked about, and then how long you can hold one breath. And so slow oxidizers tend to have that BC range, and they tend to be able to hold their breath for longer periods of time because they tend to be more anionic. And they'll also tend to, a lot of times they'll have those slightly elevated sugars, but the sugars are displacing oxygen from the cells, but slow oxidizers can hold their breath, or typically if you're in the BC range, for 50 seconds or more. And then fast oxidizers, maybe 20 to 30 seconds. They're like, oh my God, how good did I do? And so, which those are the people in the DE range, they're acidic. Why? Because each time you're breathing off that acid, so those fast oxidizers can't hold their breath. They need to get that acid off. Think about it. You need to breathe a little bit more rapid. So fast oxidizers tend to have breath rates that are well over 12. They're typically somewhere about 18 to 22. And slow oxidizers tend to have breath rates about 14 or less. I've had people come in here and breathe 6 breaths per minute, and they have heart rates of like 48, and like, do you run? Yeah, I do. How'd you know? Well, let's talk about that. And so when you're looking at lung conditions, well, first, let's go back, with metabolic typing. So you take that equation, how long can you hold your breath? And then you divide that by 9. Okay. And so if you hold your breath by, say 45 seconds or whatever, you divide that by 9, and then you subtract it from 12. And so that breath rate of 12 subtracted by your breath hold divided by 9 gives you whatever that number is. So, roughly 4 or 5. And if your total number is less than 7, you're typically a slow oxidizer versus a fast oxidizer. And fast oxidizer, that rate will be higher than 7. So let's go over that, because I probably said that in a very confusing way. Annie's sitting there looking perplexed, like, what the hell did he just say? Yeah. Okay. So in order to get an idea of fast versus slow oxidation, number one is how long can you hold your breath? But also, if you take your breath rate, how many times am I breathing per minute, and you subtract how long you can hold your breath divided by 9. And if that number is less than 7, you're typically going to show a slow oxidizer pattern. Why does it matter? Because fast or slow oxidation correlates with either the BC range or the DE range. The DE range, your chemistry is going too fast, you're acidic. The BC range, your chemistry is going too slow, you're alkaline. And then you choose your foods based upon calciums to bring yourself back to normal with that. And so slow oxidizers tend to be more anionic in that BC range. They tend to have respiratory issues, and that's why we want to talk about breathing and give you an understanding of this. And then in the meantime, the metabolic typing in the BC or the DE range is telling you how should I eat, which foods to choose, but also your macronutrient ratios. And so slow oxidizers tend to need a higher carb diet. Oh my God, give me the piece of pie, right? But no, it's more vegetable load and less fats and meats. Whereas your fast oxidizers tend to need the protein and the fats to slow down the digestion and a lower carb load, although they're craving carbs. Your fast oxidizers are give me the sugar because I go up and I crash and I go up and crash. And I need to stabilize those sugars by having a protein and fat. The problem is they don't digest them. They're in the DE range. Their digestion is piss poor. They're trace mineral deficient. They need that lemon to stimulate the digestion. They might need betaine hydrochloride or some digestive enzymes, just to help them along until you get them out of that range. So to tie it all back together, we wanted to talk primarily about breathing today, and I wanted to bring in the aspects of what the benefit of breathing can do for you, yet alone talk about lung conditions and what type of patterns we see in those lungs. Now, Annie is supposed to be keeping me updated and interrupting me instead of me just ramble for the day on who's out there, who's saying hello. That keeps me from getting lost in my phone or changing my perspective.
You got a good morning from Texas, and someone is asking if you can show what asthma looks like in the numbers.
Any other things going on that chat list?
Prophet Bear's pretty excited. He's like, is this a Wim Hof episode? And I say yes.
Yeah, so
other than that, a couple hellos,
Yeah, so I love to go back and always go. I mean, one thing that you have what's called the alphabetic reference manual, the ARM manual, and this is what some early people did is they went to listening to Dr. Kerry Reams's tapes from the Blacklist. If you start getting into RBTI, you're going to hear when there's various tapes out there listening to reams. People have transcribed those tapes. People have taken transcriptions and pulled, hey, he said asthma, and when he said asthma, this is what he correlated it with. And they just wrote down what the man said because he didn't write it down for us. And he just spoke genius out of mathematics. And people said, hey, we gotta record this stuff. So in asthma, and it says you will find a key to asthma in the pH readings, either high or low. And so typically when you're seeing lung conditions, you typically see anionic, and so we could talk about that because breathing off that carbon dioxide will actually help you to become more anionic, in itself. It makes you more alkaline, and so deep breathing techniques can happen. And so people who do Wim Hof,
fully in, fully out.
And you do that, you do Wim Hof and you breathe like that, darn well better be sitting down or, okay, here comes my dizziness, right? So I'm getting that residual. Do I need to lay down at this moment in time?
It's euphoric.
I got to take a deep breath and slow this down actually, because it does. It is quite euphoric. But it changes your vagus nerve. It changes your autonomic nervous system. It changes your overall perception of how you interact electrochemically with the world around you. Where do you want to take this? Where do you want to talk about this crap? I can't say crap. I don't know where that came from, but it's just so much information. It gets overwhelming. And so, my goal is for you to understand this on some easy to understand level that say, what's he telling me? And how do I incorporate this into my lifestyle? So breathing, being conscious of your breath, realizing that when you're in a moment where you are emotionally wanting to run away from things, what is your breath pattern? Where's your tensions? Where are you holding them? What type of thoughts are you processing? And whether you're even listening to the person across from you and thinking about what they're saying and how they're feeling versus what just spinning through your own head and what you feel that you must say to be validated within yourself. Annie, you're laughing.
Well, it's true. I did a trick. You put a string around your belly to make yourself belly breathe all the time, so you have to hold the string tight. And it's really hard to do when you're having a conversation with someone and then your head goes off, the string drops, you don't know what you're doing, the person's looking at you like, what are you doing? But your breath's important.
It is. And so what I brought into the aspects of consideration of self-awareness. What are you listening to right now?
Prophet Bear just said, yeah, I do Wim Hof all the time. I also deliver the mail in his shorts year round. For real.
Go for it.
That's impressive. I can't. It got cold here, and I can't get in the ice bath now. So I wish I had your strength. My gosh, I'm trying. It's hard.
I love getting in the sauna at home, and I love heat, people. But after I get in that sauna, I go when I do my shower. I'll temper it down, and then at the end, boom! How cold is it? And right now, that water's cold, But I can sit there and tolerate an ice cold shower 5-10 minutes if I want to, and all I got to do is control my breathing, realize it, and yes, euphoric is a total word for it, people. It goes through your whole body. Hydrotherapy techniques, that's another tangent. We could talk about hydrotherapy, the movement of blood, how you're changing blood to go through, carrying oxygen capacity, and how, a poor farmer boy, Vincent Prisnetz in Austria, ended up having a road that was done by the Austrian government because he was curing so many people by spraying cold water on them. And so hydrotherapy is just wonderful history of natural medicine that I love this stuff. And then the great thing is you could turn around and now I can explain it by a reams and a circulation and an oxygen and a electrochemical and a pH and what level do you want to know about it at this point? And it just blows my mind that we can take these basic things that we take for granted around us and what goes through my mind in regards to what's happening electrically in that tea that Annie's drinking right now behind the scenes.
Hey, it's good. It's called Breathe, ironically. Literally, it's called Breathe by Yogi.
So,
Philip
right,
says, breath in is cationic, breath out is anionic. Philip Rankin's with us from Australia.
Well, if Philip's on, I think I got to pull up my my feed to see what the man's saying here, you know. And so, but hi Philip, how you doing? But you look at we go to ARM, people who do RBTI. What did Reams say about asthma? And so this is always caused by a calcium deficiency. Wow. Okay, what tissue of the body needs more minerals than any other tissue in the body? It's the lungs. Requires 85 minerals. And they would say, the best way to get it is allspice. I started inquiring, what the heck is allspice? Allspice. I went to Laverne Reams and said, what is allspice? They're like, no, it's not the spice that you just go and pull off the shelf that's called allspice. Allspice was where Manthe just took every spice that he could find out of his cabinet. He mixed them all together, had, this massive spice blend that he just mixed together. It tasted awesome. And it was just providing all these various mineral forms because of the various herbs and that were being put in it. And it was great. It tasted wonderful. And it was the best way to get your minerals. So, hey, how about herbs?
I can come up with a cooking line and we can sell spices.
Yeah. And let's just go to the spice store. Hey, I want that. Yep. You want that in it? Yeah. You want some of this too? Yeah. How about that one? Sure. Add some. Okay. And so we just turn around and I've had some of this and I've had a client who made me some and it's like my favorite thing in the world, people. It's awesome. Annie, you've had it on eggs here.
I have. That's what that is. You need to share your recipe.
It's
very good.
I just told you. Mix them all together, people. To go to your cabinet and find all those herbs that those spices that you haven't used for years, and your spice thing is just full. Put it all in a great big thing, mix them all together, and then see what you got. And if it's like, I think I need more pepper, let's put some cayenne in this or whatever it may be. I wouldn't add your whole thing of cayenne, but add some cayenne for certain. Stimulates blood flow, circulation, capsaicin. We could turn around and talk about that. People do external pepper rubs and mustard rubs to stimulate circulation. There's things called fomentations that have historically been used in natural medicine to stimulate. Mustard plasters have been used to stimulate circulation to the lungs. But when you're talking asthma, you're talking pH. Typically, you'll see something between 6.6 to 6.8 with your pHs. You typically can see high conductivity because that irritation to that smooth muscle and nerves. And the vagus nerve, I'm telling you, breathing can affect your vagus nerve and your autonomic nervous system just by focusing it and relaxing. That aspect of learning some basic meditation techniques, learn to tune into your breath, is huge. Find when you feel that you're in a tense situation because your mom is 80 years old and she's saying something to you that still pushes a button, or somebody says something to you that you're just sitting there and fuming inside. Tune in to how you feel. What are you breathing right then? What are you feeling? How are you holding that tension? Where are you holding it? Can I just stop, take a breath, and let it go? Choice. So you tend to have high conductivity. You tend to see that static electricity irritating and tension in the lungs and tension in those muscles around it. The diaphragm's supposed to come out and relax. How many people are just doing chest breathing and not allowing that diaphragm to come down, expand, and push the belly out? Because those lungs have to have full capacity. So if you want to really know whether you're breathing appropriately, just put your hand on your belly, take a breath in, hold it for a few seconds, let it out. Did your belly come out and expand? If it didn't, you're doing this. you're breathing up here and you're trying to use those intercostal muscles and you're not allowing your lungs to expand. How many of you played musical instruments and you had to breathe on the right note or gap between the notes so that you knew when to take your breath so you could continue playing your wind instruments or whatever it may be. Breathing is so key. There's a thing called the Buteyko Method. Completely different from Wim Hof. But if you have asthma, look up Buteyko breathing. I think it's Butecko or something like that. Beu, I don't know. Beuteko. Annie will find it. She'll find it. It's called, but the Buteyko breathing, basically you're learning to get breath through your body. The lungs in Chinese medicine are dispersers. Let's pull in oxygen. Let's disperse that energy throughout the whole body. How are you getting most of the minerals? Reams talked about you getting most of your minerals through air, absorbing it through your skin and breathing. He suggested that you could get up to 80% of your daily mineral needs just by being outside and breathing. Doesn't that blow your mind? Because that tells you that all of particularly people who are in high ionized areas, why are we attracted to waterfalls? Why are we attracted to the ocean? That ionization in the air is carrying things that, and all those negative ions, you're increasing that ion exchange, and then all the minerals that are floating in the air, particularly, that's why we have the goiter belt and people who are more than 100 miles from an ocean really need to look at whether they need to be taking iodine and some trace minerals like selenium and zinc. And I could go off on others, manganese. And right now I'm looking into the work of Hans Neiper and specific mineral cofactors and how they are affect mineral transport across the cell membrane. So not just taking magnesium and dolomite, because dolomite will make most people too acidic and very few people can tolerate it. So what most people in RBTI teach, give them dolomite, but then give Cal2 and give calcitrate or tricalcium phosphate or something to offset the acidic nature of what that dolomite's doing. You need all these different forms of calciums. You want to get them through your diet, but I don't want to, have to take all the supplements every day. And I've got it down to where I can get by on 2 Cal2s and 1 Mincol in a day. And if I'm eating right, it does me good. My pHs stay well, but I have to do it. Choice.
Always the hard part.
It is. So Annie, you got to feed me and tell me what people are saying, or I got to pull something up because
I was just letting you go. Philip, he had to leave. But I got your breathing method in there. Let's see. There's not much else going on. I did have a set of numbers on Facebook posted we could talk about. Let's see.
Okay. So look at all these people who have said hey and hi and good morning, and Betty's out there, and see, I don't know that I can give up the control of the chat to Annie, because I got to say hello to all you people. Thanks for tuning in. Always give us the thumbs up. We're still looking into other platforms. We've talked about Rumble. MeWe is another. A lot of people are switching. I know Mercola has switched to MeWe. And so as we come out with a different platform, we'll probably still post these videos on YouTube, but YouTube, when we're there, we're going to let you know. We're not just going to say, hey, go find this. I would tell most people to download MeWe. That might be the primary one that I would go with, but we'll see how that works out. Let me see.
Tough. They're like slamming everything down again. I sent you a text with those numbers in it.
Oh, okay. Look at a set of numbers. Female, white, Christian, 38, height 165 centimeters. What is that? You divide that by 2.5 or by 2.54. I'm not good at converting in kilos to pounds. Is 2.2 kilos per pound. The height 165 by 2.54.
64.
So 5'4" and then 53 kilos. You do that times 2.2.
52 times 2.2. 115.
So, okay. So you're looking at a good height and weight ratio as far as ideal body weight is concerned. So, but carbs, 3, urine, 5.6 over 6.4, conductivity of 18, 1:6 ratio, cell debris, 4 double plus, nitrogen's 1 over 12. Poor lady, you are breaking down. And so, so when you're looking at this, that 1 over 12 is saying there's a huge issue with digestion. Let me see, let me get the board and I'll write these up for everybody. Next, we'll have Annie start coming in here and writing things up, because her writing will look a lot neater than mine would. But so, when you're looking at a set of numbers like this person's having some issues. So 38-year-old female. Oh. And we have 3. Where are they? 5.59. Can you read those out to me?
Yeah, 5.59 over 6.43. Conductivity is 18. 4 plus plus. 1 over 12.
Yeah. Okay. So when you look at something like this, people, you're looking at a set of numbers at a young lady who literally, sugars, first thing you do, or sugar's oxygen availability. So as you look at that, as it goes too high or too low, you have decreased oxygen availability. And so this person's at, whenever you're lower than 5.49, you can have a tendency for crashing sugars. And so when you have sugar and salt dysregulation and you have pHs out, you got adrenal stress, period. And then when you have your nitrates that are definitely 12 or below, but typically 14 or below, you have a potassium issue. So you have low potassium status, sugar dysregulation, poor oxygen availability, brain's not going to work. I'm going to crash. I'm going to have the episodes where 1 minute I'm normal, next minute I need to get something. I'm going to have adrenal fatigue. I can't focus and think. I can't keep my mind together to, what did you just say? And then we keep talking, what did you say? You're going to get a mind. Messing with Annie again.
That's so rude. I had the screen off. I'm like, what is happening?
But you can't turn around and keep your train of thought. It happens to me all the time. I'm a major sugar crasher, people. I eat eggs almost every morning. I've got to eat protein, fast oxidation, those type of things. I can tend towards being acid. So this is, so you have an alkaline condition. Things are going to, or an acid condition with the urine. Overall body, too fast. What's that going to do to the digestive tract? Too fast. What does that mean as far as utilizing your minerals? I'm not using them. And so they're coming out. So that drives up the conductivity. It drives up your urea. We're not digesting something because we have a pH that's pointing to the lower part of the digestive tract, to the pelvic area. 1 over 12, it could have a left-sided ovarian issue in this case. This lady might have polycystic ovaries, when I'm looking at something like this. So you turn around and then you look at the saliva pH, and what do we have there? We have the liver's trying to do what it can do as efficient as it can. You have, a fairly decent bile quality. However, that 1 right there says, yeah, but I'm not breaking down food. Does that make sense? Strength of bile, but representation of, is my food being transcribed into something that I can build cells with? No. So there's a huge digestive issue here. Way too acidic, bowels are going to move too fast, not pulling in all the minerals, so the conductivity ratio goes up, and then that ammonia goes up, and then you get that above 7, you've got overgrowth. So this person probably has irritable bowel as well, and then you turn around and say, what do you do? This is a vitamin D deficiency, less than 6.2. If you look at the alphabetical reference manual and Dr. Reams, he told people to take 25,000 units of vitamin D twice a day until that pH went above 6, reached 6.2. That's 50,000 units a day. Whereas, medically, if you're shown to have a level less than 30 of your vitamin 125 hydroxide, vitamin D by your blood, then your doctor will prescribe you 50,000 units a week and retest you in 3 months. Ream said, no, you got to fix this stuff, people. This is imbalance. This is breakdown. Things are moving too fast. I'm breaking down over here. This is cell destruction. This is catabolism. Those cells are being destroyed. It's coming out in my urine with that 2+. My kidneys are getting irritated. My liver's doing everything it can to hold this picture together while I'm overgrowing a bunch of junk in my digestive tract. So you got to look at, where do I start? Which number is the furthest out? Well, you always have to get sugar regulation because that's potential energy, but the pH, that's mineral deficiency. The aspects of, if your urine pH is less than 5.3 or greater than 7.15 or 7.2, whatever, I think it was greater than 7.2, Ream says minerals are not available. This person is having mineral availability issues. You can have them. They're coming out, dead cells. They're coming out, high conductivity, because the body's trying to get rid of them. They can't deal with them because the pHs are off. So vitamin D, right forms of calcium, BC range foods, do things like moringa powder. You need greens. So, you turn around and you have to go back to the basics of when we talk about these numbers on the original shows on teaching this stuff. And so that's literally, people, last night, I am trying to start a PowerPoint on creating a level 1 training. I mean, we got to do something that we're going to do online webinars, and it'll be 12 weeks of let's talk about the numbers for each certification level. Because this is, you could turn around and teach this on a college level. And that's what Buteyko thought you needed to do. That everybody, and you look at Buteyko's book, it's like reading a college level book. You have to, so a lot of people get Dr. Buteyko's book and be like, this is over my head. And so it doesn't need to be, and you got to love Philip Rankin, who is here, too high or too low on that bricks. And so when it's up, you're eating foods that you shouldn't eat. You're breaking down cells. You're not digesting them. You go acidic. Your nitrates go up and your cell debris goes up. This person's going to show protein in their urine, And so you start seeing a picture as you do this more often. But simplify. Too high or too low? Okay, too high. They're not drinking enough water. They're eating the wrong foods. pH, too fast or too slow? Too fast. Things are going, got to slow it down. Vitamin D, calcium hydroxide, calcium citrate, tricalcium phosphate. You got to turn around and say, what form of calcium does this person need? Bottom line. And then when you see, I'm really into trace mineral aspects because, and we tried to talk a little bit about that last week, because, and today about the lungs need more trace minerals than any other tissue. And you start looking at the herbs that are used, or allspice, like we talked about. You need a diet of variety. When people had lung conditions, one teacher of RBTI, he would have people use yellow mustard, and whenever they'd have lung conditions, because of both the turmeric that's in there and something, it was always Heinz yellow mustard. And I don't know where, I haven't seen that. I've seen Heinz pickle juice and stuff like that with Reams. Reams had a great respect for Heinz in the day based upon how they were doing things. If we had somebody to be able to still test that they're using the same thing that they were doing 40 years ago, I don't know.
Definitely not.
Yeah, very possibly not. But but Heinz yellow mustard would be used for lung conditions, both for the turmeric, and for some reason it would help in that anionic condition and help with the inflammation aspects. But too high, too low, too fast, too slow, and then again, the ratios of these numbers speaks volumes. So 3 to 18, 1 to 6 ratio. Hey, you got a high mineral elimination, there's a conductivity stress, and that's going to irritate. That's going to break down smooth muscles. That's going to irritate, cause tension. You're not going to be able to get that deep breath in, and take that regard.
Betty said it was Heinz sweet pickle vinegar was recommended for alkaline conditions.
There you go. Thank you, Betty. Always. And so when you're looking at these nitrates, when you're monitoring day to day, it's good to do, you could do these two numbers, the sugars and the salts, and learn your pattern, because these other or the sugars and the urine pH, I'm sorry, because you learn your patterns, and it's going to tell you how you should be eating. First of all, how you should be drinking. That is key. Talk to Betty, but then Philip likes to teach the first four numbers. Look at the conductivity, because that tells you if you're getting too much salt and irritating your nerves, and you're getting an idea of hydration status. And Philip's all about performance. He works with Olympic athletes. He works with professional athletes and saying, look, you get these first four numbers to hone in, and you learn to eat and when to carb load and how the body's crashing and based upon what you need to perform. Philip has athletes that are competing on world levels. And damn it, if we start losing all the Olympics, blame him, because he's got Olympic teams that are looking into RBTI. So when the Australians come out and they start kicking our butts, let's get in gear. Let's get our people doing some RBTI. Okay. So, and the big picture, you look at what numbers are the furthest away. You got to get that pH up. You got to correct this 1/12 out here. You are not digesting. You are not taking up minerals. And so Reams would use green drinks. This person's horrible vitamin A deficiency, and so you could turn around and use vitamin A foods like cucumbers, juicing cucumbers, people with the skin. Great source of vitamin A. Skin conditions, visual conditions, all the fat soluble vitamins should be used in tandem. So if you're using one, it's probably affecting the other. Vitamin A, D, E, and K. These are all connected. You don't need to know all this stuff, but as we keep putting this stuff out, we're going to have the availability that we're going to just outline the basics of how you can all of this stuff. I hope that answers questions. I didn't even know. Was that from our show, or was that from? It
was posted in the RBTI group on Facebook. So I grabbed it. She posted it this morning, so I figured it was relevant to talk about. Profit Bear saying that there's a little website, let's see, spinning off of YouTube called Patriots. Let's see, Patriot Network, a site made by Patriots for Patriots. Maybe we can jump on there.
Okay. Make a note of that, and we can go and see. Let's see.
And there was something about sea salts. Daniel Cummings, you see that right there?
So I'm just going down.
It says you mentioned cell salts in one of your live show. I started taking 5 bioplasma cell salts 3 times a day. Now I can cut grass without an asthma attack.
Oh, there you go. Cell salts are a beautiful thing, people. Sorry, it's not RBTI for you. Do you die hard? Got to do it Reams's way. He never talked about cell salts, so I'm not going to use them. I disagree with you. I use RBTI as a system of measurement. And believe me, these trace mineral salts go back to the 1920s, and they're mentioned in our Constitution, our constitutional right to understand these things, to recommend them to people, and not be prosecuted for practicing medicine without a license. And so I don't want to go political. You're always going to see some political undertones, but I don't want to just make shows about politics, because I don't want to get kicked off the air, people. I want to be able to offer this service to you and be able to talk and teach you something. So, and we start walking down that path, and you bring that, particularly getting angry about it. All it does is tenses you up. You're not getting your full breath. You're letting emotions drive you. Your heart rate changes.
No bad energy.
We don't need it. We don't need it. In the end, Christ wins, people. He just wins. What's interesting is I have live blood behind me. And I don't know, I can't zoom in, which is a shame, and I don't know how well you can see Maybe if I even turn the light out, it might show it a little bit better. Now I'm still getting a reflection. It was just coming from the windows over there. But in live blood patterns, if you can see this pattern, and I don't know if it's showing up well. I hope it is.
Pick your laptop up. Just get a
Pick
little bit. Just get a little bit closer. Unplug your mic or put it down.
Okay, so when you're doing live blood, okay, and I can't get that there. I have to put it up like that.
There you go. Yep.
Okay, so when you're looking at this, you see there's supposed to be this nice, congruent, consistent red pattern with all this fibrin, black fibrin interconnectedness. And the more broken apart the fibrin, the worse you're seeing protein utilization and hormonal imbalances. But also these white areas are called polymerized protein puddles. And they historically thought that they were directly associated with inflammation. You'll see inflammation patterns. And then they started believing that it's all energetic, that the blood is carrying energy frequencies, and that when the blood dries, that particular frequency is causing, and vibrational energy is causing the blood to dry in a pattern that says, hey, when it dries right here, it's like they describe blood patterns in concentric circles, where you have the center is ring 1, ring 2, ring 3 is right before the pattern changes. So right outside this ring is ring 4. And when you see something in ring 4, you always see lung or breast conditions in women. And so this is a lung condition right here. So I'm moving and Annie's coming in to hold it still so I can be like on screen and have my hands free. So let's talk about lung conditions and let's get moving in the groove with this stuff. Okay. Thanks, Annie. So when you're looking at this, you can see a darker pattern to a lighter pattern. So you can see strength of the blood. You can see when it gets dark on the outside that people aren't detoxifying really well. And so the outside ring will become black, and it's just a sign of poor detoxification, consistent with specific vitamin and mineral deficiencies. But this is a lung condition. So this person here, I asked them, and they historically, I think this guy worked in the steel mill years ago. And I'm like, well, that'll do it, and he tested positive for aluminum on electrodermal testing. And he's got a little bit of darkening on the outside for heavy metals. And all this stuff is I'm going to take the computer back. But what we see here when we're doing this, the volume's going to change. And I hope you guys can hear that okay, because while I was talking out there, my microphone was on the chair below. But what this all does is gives us an analytical pattern, something that makes sense, something that we can look at cause and effect and have a direct, what do I do to fix this? Not treat a lung condition. You want to talk herbs? We could talk Grindelia, great for getting oxygen into the lungs. We could talk Gotu Kola. We could talk lungwort. We could talk Osha, Lingusticum. I love some of the Latin names. My favorite herbal name is Humulus lupulus. Isn't that great? Say that 3 times. Humulus lupulus. Humulus lupulus. Humulus lupulus. And let's see who knows that the name of that herb. Let's see who can get that first. And that's a wonderful herb. It's a nervine. It's calming. It helps with pain control. It helps make beer, so there's a clue, and so but herbs are wonderful for being tonifying. Why? What are they providing? Specific flavonoids or specific terpenes or specific chemical constituents that do what? Affect chemistry. Or they might be certain mineral. How about certain plants? How about your corn and your tomatoes sucking all the potassium out of your soil? And so certain plants are attracted to certain nutrients. And so those nutrients provide specific benefits. I love mixing herbals. For those, we bring it back to the beginning and talking, COVID concerns. Stephen Brenner has, outlined basic mechanisms that we understand of this COVID virus. And then he said, based upon these mechanisms, these are herbs that directly influence those mechanisms on a functional biochemical level. So what did I do? I've mixed, a Coven herbal. I have some polygonum in there. I have a little bit of kudzu in there. I have some elderberry in there, and astragalus. And there's reasons that you pick certain herbals, not just because of their ability to increase the lungs. I think Reams used golden seal, wonderful in a lot of immune-based and acute illness-based antimicrobial herb. But Reams used golden seal specifically to increase dead cells for people who were not eliminating their dead cells, had really bad scleral patterns with the blood vessels in their eyes being red or bloodshot eyes. Shows a sign that you got a high number of delta cells, dead cells that you're not eliminating in the body. And Reams used golden seal. In school, I learned that golden seal was primarily antimicrobial. The berberines in it are used for yeast, and it had immune boosting capabilities. So you'd always put golden seal and echinacea as a basis for some type of illness when it came on, generalized immune boosting. So, but golden seal will, Reams also said only use it in alkaline conditions. Well, hey, respiratory conditions, they're typically anionic. It's immune boosting, antimicrobial, and it'll help you get rid of the bad cells. So I love herbals. I'd love, when we get to level 3, I'm going to teach herbals. I'm going to teach that, say, listen, just because I don't have a description by Kerry Reams that said he used this herb for this, I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of how herbs can help people, and some generalized things that we should be aware of, even essential oils that can be beneficial. But just because it historically has been shown to do these things does not mean that everybody should do them. If you bring them into the picture, test the numbers. See that they're beneficial for people. Know that you're having a positive movement of that chemistry towards the ideal, and that there's an increased energy efficiency, and that they're working for you. Because you can take something that's completely healthy for one person and, stimulating to restore some particular function in the body. But in this person, boom, sugar spike, pH crashes. It could show as a total cell debris goes up. It could show as a total allergic response to it.
You have a
So
guess.
test the numbers.
Hops?
What's that?
You have a guess. Is it hops? Your herbal that you like?
Humulus lupulus is hops. Yes. Hops is a wonderful herb. Chronic pain control. There's a company, Metagenics, and they use isolated hops extract for blood sugar regulation, chronic pain, because of how it's working on cytokines and helping with sugar regulation, pain control on these cytokine levels and on hormonal levels. It's amazing herb. Wonderful herbs. You can mix it in near any herbal that you do. You can add hops and just know that you're doing something good for yourself. Good. Who guessed that? Sue Hodge. Congratulations. What should we give her, Annie? So Betty Hernandez Reams. Dr. Reams said that he didn't know that much about herbs, that we should use them and go by the numbers. He encouraged us to take RBTI to a new level. Let's do it. As we start working on a coalition and a program, the long-term goal is that we can start gathering numbers and hopefully at some point have a questionnaire that people fill out with any new symptoms, that when you put in, hey, I've got these new symptoms, that we can correlate them with specific sets of numbers, and then what you did to correct them. If we see numbers correct, did your numbers correct? Yes or no? What did you do to get them to go to correct? And if we can see consistent patterns by tracking them with a computer system, what are we developing a database for? You know, it's not that everything's a cookbook, because everybody can react differently, but at least we can create some guidelines. So I love what I call RBTI perspectives with June Wiles and Dr. Manthe's work, and even Challen had a few positive things that he put out there, and Michael Olsta or Dr. Badeau. And what did these people say? They weren't Dr. Reams. They're all RBTI perspectives. I'm giving you an RBTI perspective, that I'm a little bit different than anybody that's ever giving the RBTI perspective that I'm giving. And I'm thankful that Betty sits there and says, hey, this is what my dad wanted. I'm glad, because I can't fit myself in an RBTI box and say that it's only this, because I have seen so many things in naturopathic practice with fomentations and mustard plasters and herbs and cell salts. And I can't deny what I've seen with hydrotherapy and hyperbaric chambers or infrared sauna. And, you know, Kerry Reams, he wasn't a naturopath. He was a genius, people. And he would have said, hey, Ged, let's try it. Let's see what it does by measuring. Let's reevaluate and look at that set of numbers and see what happened. So let's see. Pine Tree, gotta go. Autocorrect stinks sometimes. Papa, not papas. Let's see. Marcia, I'm so excited that you are putting together classes, Doc. I will definitely be there for all of them. Thank you, Marcia. It's just work in progress. I know my next phase is actually just teaching this stuff and putting it together in a teaching capacity. In the meantime, you know, I still run a practice that has to support me and my family, you know. So, but as things go on, you know, we're coming out with canine telemetry. We had this incredible designer put the most awesome label together that you can't imagine. You guys are going to love what it looks like.
Funny. Prototype.
There you go. You know,
it's a little crinkly.
Yeah, that's paper, but it's going to be. We're bringing it out at the first of the year, and why? You know, so it's something that we can market to get the money together to do the big picture. You know, that helps. You know, I no guilt for this at all, because we're giving people something that can truly help their animals, and because we've observed it, you know, and I've observed it in every animal that I've given it to. So no guilt. You know, this is like, let's do something good that results in something good that gives me the ability to step back and let's take it to the next level. That's my goal with this, people. And not that I want to stop seeing patients, you know, but I don't need patients. I need to make time to take it to the next level, and let's work on the aspects of where I can help more people, and an aspect of equipping you to be able to help other people on that. So we are at an hour, and we have gone through that. I'm going to ask all of you to turn around and give us that thumbs up. Please share as usual. You know, it only gets out there as much as we can positively put it out there. And I'm hoping that we're seeing this in positive light. We're supposed to turn around and let our light shine to the world, people. Every Friday is tie-dye Friday. So, you know, I say, let your brightness shine. So I got some pretty wild tie-dyes that I've worn to this office. And if anybody's ever looking for bringing something to Doc, you know, don't bring me sweets. You know, I love them, but they kill me. They crash me out. I got people who just like, it's Christmas time here. They bring Doc sweets. I'd rather have tie-dyes, size large, you know. Find those $5 ones at the thrift store. I'll take a used tie-dye. I wash everything I get first anyway. So, you know, but people, tie-dyes are cool. They always have been. It's let your brightness shine. You know, and we give discounts on Fridays if you wear tie-dyes. It's fun stuff. Anyway, this is a beautiful day. Get out and enjoy it. Breathe, people. Stop after this show. Close your eyes. Breath in, hold it all the way out. Breath in. Breath out. Feel your body. Know who you are. Get control of those thoughts. And know that it's all good. Because God's in control, people. Until next week, take care. May God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in.